Hey, Doug Upstone here for Gamblers World at the Winner Circle Sports Podcast, and it's a Monday. It's July the 7th. It's the first Monday of July, and there's Chip Chirimbes. As I said, I'm Doug Upstone, filling in for Sean Higgs, who I don't know. I think Chip, he's getting those aprons done we talked about from the WNBA. I think he's getting the manufacturing process going on those.
Well, I'm glad he finally got untied from that white jacket where they strapped them behind his back. No, but he's in Vegas. I'll probably go down the circuit and catch him somewhere.
Yeah. I knew he was there. I'm just he's not here, so I can have some fun with him not here. So, okay, change it up a little bit. Hey, and speaking of changing it up, hey, one thing you should do this week, okay, and let everybody know, we still have our $99 baseball special that goes through the All-Star game. So make sure that you sign up for that. Here's the deal. Okay. Real simple. There is WNBA, which Chip is the king. We'll talk about that in just a second. There's some CFL action, but there's not a lot of other action. So here's the thing. For $99, you can get Major League Baseball picks from whatever handicapper you want. Okay. And the regular weekly price, okay, to get all the picks is $175. So the deal is fantastic. Make sure that you sign up today, Monday, and take advantage of that for sure. Also, while you're at it, subscribe to this channel, to the Winner Circle channels. Get yourself free picks each and every day. The last I knew, and Chip, I don't remember if you remember your pick from last Thursday, but I remember I won last Thursday, but to the best of my knowledge, in the last, I believe it's eight days or whatever it is, we're 15-3, okay, and free picks. So we are absolutely killing it. And so make sure that you subscribe to this channel, hit the alert bell so that also when you go into your settings, you'll be notified each and every time that we have a selection. Our videos are Monday through Friday. And then also leave your comments. I've been in there, especially on the days I'm on here. I'm regularly in there trying to reply to comments. So make sure that you leave them. Okay, leave some comments here. And if you like what you hear, especially when Chip tells you about the day in sports, hit the like button. Okay, make sure that you do that. Now, my friend here, Chip Chirimbes, okay, he is number 2 the last 30 days here at the site. He's made over $3,400 for bettors on a 46-36 record. Inside of that number is most recently 6-1. And in the WNBA, you need to pay attention to what I'm going to just tell you right now. Okay, 28-7, 80% for the year, for a profit of over $8,900. Chip Chirimbes, yes, the guy sitting right next to me, okay, killing it in the WNBA and just on a marvelous run. So, Chip, congratulations. Keep up the great work, and let everybody else know what's going on and how your weekend was.
Thank you. Went 3-0 in Major League Baseball this week and did sweep the WNBA card. Usually only giving out one game a day. And, we talked about how, I like to play one game, single out the single strongest play of the day. That's how I originated as the A play. And the WNBA just seems to set up so well where they're only having 2 or 3 games or even 4 games on a day, and you're able to concentrate and zone in on. At least I have been able to so far, and I hope it continues through the rest of the season.
Yes, like even yesterday, I believe I don't want to say this wrong. I might have it backwards. You had the big favorite yesterday.
Yeah. I'm not. This is a league. I'm not afraid to lay the favorites,
right? Because
they don't take their foot off the gas pedal. These women are mean. They're ornery. They want to be badasses, and they want to beat you as bad as they can. And there's no giving up. Like in the NBA, you got a 20-point lead, and you're headed to disaster. But not in the WNBA. I think there are so many teams that are so dominant compared to the other sides that they just can't make up the difference.
Yeah, Connecticut tied their franchise record for a number of losses. I saw. Okay,
yeah, they're the weakest team in the WNBA, and then and they even have an expansion team. But you have to be careful because like I said, sooner or later, it seems the pendulum seems to swing back, and these teams will cover the number a little better. I can give you an example. Dallas Wings started out terribly, and yet they're playing a lot better now since they got Beckers and a few players added to their roster.
So that makes a difference. So, so make sure if you're not following Chip's WNBA picks, honestly, we've talked about this before. You don't have to know anything about the WNBA. You don't have to watch a game. You don't have to do anything. All you do is you buy Chip's picks and you collect your money. Okay. It's been good 80% of the time. So don't miss this opportunity. Now, Chip, I also know went 4-0 yesterday, and I thought I was going to match him. Okay. Yesterday I went 3-1. I thought I was going to match him because I had the under in Detroit and Cleveland. It was no score after 7.5 innings. It was 1-1 after 9 innings. What could go wrong other than 6 runs by Detroit in the top of the 10th? That's what wrong. So ended up 3-1 day. Still, hey, you know what? Those things happen. And 23-8 baseball run for yours truly, up over $2,400. And the last 128 days, I'm up over $6,500 across all sports. So we got lots of good stuff going there. All right, so Chip, we got some free picks to talk about. We got a couple of games to cover, and we're going to start with your game, which to me, great pitching matchup. We got the Dodgers against the Milwaukee Brewers heading on the road after being swept by the Houston Astros. And that was and by the way, speaking of that, one little side note for those that didn't hear, I don't even know if you heard about this, Chip. So the Dodgers lost game 1, 18-1, Houston.
Right.
Okay, their all-time worst defeat at home. And I don't know if that included Brooklyn or not, or if it was just LA. I'm assuming it was just LA, but I don't know. Okay. But so Oral Hershiser was talking about the game, or he was the commentator on TV. And he said, not to open up a can of worms, which of course, that's exactly what he meant to do.
Right. Exactly.
he says, they're hitting the Dodgers pitchers like they know that they're coming. Of course, referencing what happened in 2017, I believe it was.
Right.
And I don't know. I thought it was a stupid thing to say. Personally, I get it. If you're a Dodger fan, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth still after all these years. But the thing, I would just rather have him be like Ron Santo was with the Cubs. Ron Santo hated the Mets. And there's a story as to why he hated the Mets, but that's something else. But you know what? Just say you hate the Astros. You don't have to, do that. Just, I don't like this team. Okay. And to me, this is an embarrassing loss, and you move on. What are your thoughts on that, Chip, before you go into your free pick?
I've actually been out with Oral Hershiser.
Oh, okay.
He's very congenial. He hangs out in Las Vegas. He plays a lot of poker out here.
Yes, right.
And, he at the time he was broadcasting the Little League World Series. And I had said to him, here you go from the majors. Now you're down to there. And you know what? Kudos to him that he used it as a stepping stone, and that's where he started, and he just grew his way back up. And now, like you said, he's doing the national game of the week, or at least the Dodger game against Houston. And funny thing about that year, 2017, I have a good friend here. It's a big Oakland A's fan, and I was in Houston for opening day. And Houston, the first 5 batters all hit line drive base hits. And I called my buddy here, and I said, Oakland stinks. And that was the year they were getting all the pitches. So maybe there was a little something else going on,
Yeah, very likely. Well, it turns out absolutely true. But, but the other thing, though, since then, I mean, this is 2017, so it's 8 years ago. And hey, you know what? I hang on to some grudges like a lot of people do about certain things. But I mean, the Dodgers have gone on to win 2 World Series. Houston came back and won another one. Hey, water under the bridge now.
Well, they wanted to sweep that under the rug, really, and the Red Sox were involved too in doing the same thing, but they kept that really quiet. It's a black mark against baseball, and they don't want to enhance it in any manner, shape, or form, I guess.
That's for sure. All right, so Yamamoto against Freddie Peralta. What do you think, Chip?
It's a good matchup, and with these 2 pitchers, I'm going to do exactly what the obvious is. Maybe I'd play the under in this game, because Peralta's having his finest season. He's always had good stuff, Doug. He's always been on the cusp of breaking out, and I think this is his breakout year. He's 9-4, his ERA's under 3, and Yamamoto, his ERA's 2.5, he's 8-6. Listen to these stats from these 2 guys, because I like to use these. 97 innings, only 66 hits, Yamamoto. That's 1/3 of his innings. He's not giving up any hits. And Peralta's almost the same, 99 innings, 73 hits. But Peralta has given up the long ball. He's given up 12 homers. If I was to play this game, I would play Milwaukee, or I would play the under. And I think for the benefit of the show, we'll say the under. which we've been doing pretty good with it as of late. And by the way, I've started posting totals in baseball, which is an anomaly for me. And we posted 5 of them so far, and we've won them all. Yesterday we had the easy one with the Pirates in Seattle to stay under, and 1-0 final. But Doug, when you said it was 1-1 going into the 10th, and you lost the total, I was thinking about using that game as an under as well. So great minds think alike, but sometimes you have to be lucky rather than good.
Yes. Yeah. Well, what can you do? I mean, it was one of those things, and there's nothing you. But anyway, okay. So officially, we have I believe. Well, there's still some. I know there's still some 8s floating around on this game, and there's some 7.5s also. Mostly 7.5s, but there are some 8s still floating around. So, but officially, Chip's got the under on the Dodgers and Milwaukee, and this one, the Dodgers, like I said, coming off that shocking home sweep of Houston. I think motivation, Dodgers certainly be motivated, okay, after such an embarrassing loss. And it's a pretty tough road trip. I mean, before the break, they're at Milwaukee and at San Francisco. Brewers come in having won 4 of 5 series, and they're on a 10-5 run. And this one, if you can get the 8, okay, I would agree with Chip. Okay, I'd take that one. And the worst thing is the thing that can happen too, if you get a push, then you do. Okay, but Brewers 14-3 under. At home playing a team with a winning record. Okay. Otherwise, here's something else to consider. And I know Chip mentioned as a secondary pick with Milwaukee. I'm going to disagree with him, but only for this reason on the side is the Dodgers, get this, 12-1 on the Monday road. Okay. Mm-hmm. They have been fantastic to open series on the road. So just keep that one in mind there too. But officially, Brewers, Dodgers, under. Okay, let's move ahead.
Excuse me, Doug. I want to make a comment about this Milwaukee team. They got Woodruff back. And if you saw his performance yesterday, I think the Cubs are going to have to be a little concerned the second half of the season about these Brewers finally putting it together. They are 10 games over 500. And, if they start putting the bat on the ball a little bit with their staff, they have an excellent staff right now.
Yes,
and,
right.
I think they may be viable and something that the Cubs are going to have to be looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, and their manager, Pat Murphy, he's gotten himself in a little bit of trouble here and there over the course of his baseball career as a manager. But the thing is, though, he's very good with bullpens. Okay, so that's a huge strength with him. And he also has been very adaptable to utilizing the tools that the front office gives him in order to set up the lineups. So I think Murphy's a solid manager, and this club just continues to, despite what many people feel is sometimes an inferior team, they get the job done. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one. All right. San Diego is going to be hosting Arizona tonight, I should say. San Diego is a slipping favorite in this game. They have it opened, I think, at 135. Now they're somewhere between 115 and 120. And the reason, well, they've gone from Nick Pivetta to Yu Darvish, okay, as a starting pitcher. So what to expect from Darvish? I don't know what to tell you. I mean, anything can happen when a guy's coming off the DL or the IL for the entire year. Now, the Padres are among the wild card contenders, but recently all the wild card contenders have just been pretty mediocre with records from 4-6 to 6-4. And San Diego certainly fits in that realm at 5-5. They won last night's game. The problem with the Padres of late has been the offense. Since in the last month, and so in the last 30 days, they're 24th in offense. That's a problem. Arizona, though, lost 7 out of the last 10. Zach Gallen comes in. He's 6-9 with a 5.45 ERA. His problem, he's not a big guy. And I think that some of the wear and tear at his age is starting to accumulate, and his velocity is down this year. His breaking stuff is not as sharp as what it's been. His walks are up. He's just basically a little over 2-1 on walks, on strikeouts to walks, and he's been taken deep 20 times in 18 starts. Okay, so there's a problem. I'd like to make a case for Arizona here, Chip, but their bullpen is 25th. So I've seen this team go having 1-run leads in the late innings and losing by 1 run, okay, often enough here. So I'm going to grab my rosary, and I'm going to be backing the Padres to get the job done at about -115 in this one. Chip, what are your thoughts on this game?
My thoughts are I like grabbing the rosaries and rooting for the Padres. That was pretty good there, Doug. I like that. Padres started the season great. They're 27-15 at home. A major disappointment, I think, this year so far has been the performance of the Diamondbacks. And you mentioned about their pitching. They're scoring 5.1 runs a game, and they're allowing 5.1 runs a game. And that's not going to get you too far. They are 2 games under 500, 21-21 on the road. They've won 3 of the last 4 meetings. San Diego won the last one. Darvish, his first start, like you said, what are we going to get out of him? I don't know what to expect there. I think I might play the over here, or I'd lean toward Arizona a little bit, believe it or not, because Galen had his best performance of the year last time out. 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, gave up 1 run. Maybe he's found himself, Doug. Sometimes this just happens with a pitcher, and you snap a finger, and they're different. And that might be the case here. San Diego's is averaging 4 runs a game and only giving up 3.9. Slight advance there, but there's a full run difference in how many runs they score and how many runs they give up between the Padres and Arizona. And I think this is liable to be a high-scoring game. I think that's how I'm going to end up saying going here, because Darvish, how long is he going to go? You don't know. How effective he's going to be? You don't know. And Galen's got that 5.45 ERA, like you said, almost, so I think they're going to hit Galen, even though he has pitched his best game of the year, last time out.
Yeah, that history doesn't always, when you're hot, that's usually a precursor of something good. But when you're not, when you have an anomaly start, it doesn't always work out for you. So, So Chip likes the over on the Padres and the D-backs. Officially, though, I'm going to say the Padres are the choice. So our 2 free plays are the Padres on the money line. And then also under between the Dodgers and Milwaukee. Okay,
right.
So we have that. All right. So want to let everybody know one last time here. Make sure that our All-Star promo, check it out, $99. Okay, to get that now through the All-Star game, and we have a number of guys that are doing very well in baseball, including the 2 gentlemen that you're looking at on your screen right now. So make sure that you sign up. Get yourself set up, because you're going to be out without baseball for a few days. And as all of us know, is that that break is, if you're an action junkie and you like to do stuff, that break, it's good for us as handicappers, take a little time off. But at the same time, you get to Wednesday and you're like, geez, I wish there was a little something I could watch or something like that. Now, Chip in particular has WNBA he could focus on. So make sure even during the break that you check out Chip on that one. So one last thing I'd like to cover with Chip. I'm going to run some ideas about this past him as we approach the All-Star break. There's look at some teams that have been either exceeded expectations or teams that have not exceeded expectations and have, for the most part, failures is probably too strong of a word, but certainly not played as well as expected. Okay, so my first team, Chip, I'm throw at you. The Cubs. And people say, well, you're a Cubs fan, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Yes, I am a Cubs fan, but that has nothing to do with how I handicap baseball. That's just a fan being a fan. This team is better than I expected them to be. I think their season win total, coming in was 84. They're certainly beyond that. Versatile offense. They can hit home runs. They're number 2 in scoring in baseball. Their defense is much better. I mean, Crow Armstrong is having a great year, but he's also a very good center fielder. Tucker and Wright is really a good fielder, and Happ is I think 1 or 2-time Golden Glove player in the outfield. And their offense or their defense is solid. And the thing is that I like the bullpen. It has had some rough spots, but it's among the top 10 bullpens in baseball. I give the credit to Craig Counsell, their manager, on that one, especially knowing that Justin Steele essentially has not pitched for them this year. Thoughts on that, Chip?
Well, I'm wondering about the pitching. The club bats have been really great, and I hope they were able to maintain that throughout the season. And usually, people wear down in the dog days, and I'm just wondering, what does their frontline staff have going for them, Doug? Their frontline pitching. I mean, do they have an ace that's just going to shut somebody down? I don't think. Well, without Steele, they don't have an ace. But I mean, they got Yamamoto back, so that's not Yamamoto. So that's not Yamamoto. Can't think of his name.
I drawn a blank here, but their other pitcher, he was out for 2 months with a hamstring, so he's back. Matt Boyd yesterday, brilliant effort again, 10 strikeouts, career high. Okay, he's good. Talion, though, just went on the IL. Don't know for how long he's going to be out. So, yeah, are they thin in starting pitching? Yes, they are. Yeah. They don't have their complete staff. I'm not saying that they're going to – I think they're going to carry throughout the entire season, but to this point, okay, I think they've been very good here. So, yeah, so that's my take, at least right now, on the Cubs. You know, as we all know, the old story of whatever you are in July the 4th and where you end up can be two completely different things.
Oh, yeah.
So
for sure.
Unusual. Detroit. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I lost my thought. Tell you the truth. Go ahead.
Okay. The Detroit Tigers. Okay. Detroit Tigers last July traded away a couple of players. They got Jack Flaherty as a throw-in. Okay, on a trade. They were going nowhere, and all of a sudden they got hot in August and September and played well in the playoffs. And that has continued into this season to where they have been one of the top 3 teams in baseball all year. I mean, this is a balanced squad. They can beat you 1-0 and they can beat you 10-9. Okay. I mean, they have all the components there. I really like what they've done this year. And the other thing that does get enough credit is their manager, who, by the way, was the manager of the Houston Astros in 2017. And but he's a good manager. So I like this team, Chip. What are your thoughts?
The Tigers they're amazing to me because the All-Star break last year, I thought they'd given up on the season, and I think they have the best record in all of baseball since then.
Yes,
I mean they came on really strong. They made the playoffs, and the Tigers look good. They got their 23 games over 500 right now, the best team in baseball as far as their record's concerned. You know what happens though, Doug? I mean, we're coming to the All-Star break in July here, and one of the more important factors I've always thought of in baseball is let's wait and see who takes that June swoon. Which teams have been running out there, and June tells the tale, and the rest of the way they're usually shot. And it's happened to both New York clubs who had 7-game leads in first place at one time or another. Both of them hit the skids at the same time, and now neither of them in first place, 3 and 4 games out. So, that's interesting to see what's happened there. It was affected the Mets and the Yankees the most as far as that June swoon, which I always wait for it because there's always a team that's running out ahead of everybody, and then they sit there, and at the end of May, and then like exactly what happened to the Yankees this year. And even the Mets. So it was surprised that happened to both those teams. But we've been saying all year long that the Yankees got a lot of holes, and their pitching without Cole and coming up with arm problems is not going to be among the leaders before.
Yeah, and then losing Clark Schmidt now. I mean, they
lost Schmidt, and he was pretty good. That guy was pretty effective. And Gill's on the list, Cole's on the list, and Max Fried. I mean. My buddy calls him Alan Freed, but he's been pitching really well. But how long can you keep that up, putting pressure on your team when? Thankfully, they have Judge, but even he has curtailed a little bit, not all that much. I mean, he's got 33 homers and hitting 354.
Yes, I mean it's they're both things seem to coincide, which is where the bullpens flattened out for both the New York teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's going to happen. But in each instance, the period of time that it happens, I mean, okay, I'll give any team a week. Okay. That can happen. But when it extends beyond that, you wonder a little bit.
The Yankees went 16 straight games where the total played to the under. 16 straight.
Yeah,
now
right.
they've gone 6 straight to the over. So, it's baseball is trends, isn't it? And, take advantage of the totals if you can't have a side, I guess.
Yes, ebb and flow. Well, yeah, and you're picking up on the sides then too. I actually have another friend of mine in the business who has been doing more totals and has had some success too. Here's a team that I'm a little puzzled on, Chip. I'm not sure what the take is. Toronto. I mean, they took advantage of the Yankees faltering and to climb to first place. And I mean, this was unexpected. And one of the big things I listened to a little bit of their game yesterday, and the number of contributions they're getting from players that were not even on the opening day roster, is a big thing. But here's my question about them. Right now, they are 14 games over 500. Their run differential is plus 12. Okay. So, every year there's one of those teams, okay, that wins more and where their run differential is way off, but yet they have that. Maybe Toronto's that team, but I don't know. I got some reservations.
It's difficult to develop confidence in them because every time I think of Toronto, I think of the Maple Leafs, and we know they haven't won since 1967. But I have trouble with this Toronto team. At the beginning of the year, they looked terrible, like you said. I mean, I watched them and I said they have no hitting, they have no pop, and now you're talking about the players that are contributing weren't even with the team when the season started. So it's sort of hard for me to gauge. I'm still expecting them to falter. I just don't think they have the substance to stay there. But, with the Yankees playing the way they are, that AL East is open. Baltimore's been a major disappointment. The Red Sox, who everyone bet during the preseason to make it to the playoffs, have been an abomination. They can't pick up the ball and throw it. And, they got rid of their best hitters. I mean, do you know how good Mookie Betts is? Mookie Betts is playing 81 games at shortstop for the Dodgers. He got a 98.5 fielding percentage. I don't know how the Dodgers ever got rid of that guy. And they get rid of Devers as well. I mean, the Red Sox and get rid of Devers as well.
Yeah, and those are my two disappointing teams as well. I mean, Baltimore. I mean, it's a full year now that they've played poorly. So I mean, this is not just an aberration. I mean, this is just not a good baseball team.
They have no arms. They don't have the pitching that you need. You need pitching.
But then the other thing is the guys in the field are the lack of focus. Okay, if you watch them play, I mean, throwing to the wrong base, just mental mistakes on a continuing basis, even with the managerial change, that's a problem. The only thing, I mean, Boston has been a major disappointment based on preseason expectations, but they look a little better of late. I'm not saying they're on their way. I think they're 4 games behind the last wild card spot, so they're in position. We'll see what they do.
Doug, they brought up the kid from the minors. He started 1 for 26. And now, since then, he's been on a tear. I mean, I saw him at the plate, and I think this kid's a player. Anthony's left. I think his name's Anthony. He really looks like a strong player to me. And, I always like to see that and see what happens and how he develops. But, there are other people that started their career off that way as well and still had Hall of Fame careers.
That's right. I mean, there's been plenty of people that have done that. So, well, everybody, that's a wrap for what we have today. So, again, free picks, the under for the Dodgers and Milwaukee. I went with San Diego for the free pick to take care of Arizona. So we have that. We have our $99 promo that you should take advantage of. And so we're ready to go. Now, Chip, one last thing before we do go. Today is July the 7th.
Yes.
Let everybody know what's happening
Well, I'll tell you, Doug, I have some things here that are kind of unique because I actually had to do some research after I saw the events of what had happened. and no, really, in 1900, right, the Boston Bean Eaters, they beat the Chicago Orphans 11-4, but it was the 300th victory for Kid Nichols. Now, we're talking about 1900. How long had Major League Baseball been alive? So I wanted to go check. 1871 is the first year of Major League Baseball, and the home run leaders that year had 4. 3 guys were tied, and 3 guys were tied at second with 3. And the thing about it, though, that I wanted to mention was, I lost my sheet. Oh, the final standings at the end of the year was determined by the total number of wins that you had. Because the league, some teams played more games than others. The Philadelphia Athletics won in 1871. They were 21-7, and the Rockford Forest City Gigs were 4-21. But here's another thing that was 1871 for 13 years, for 12 years rather. The team with the best record was considered the champions. Then they developed their winning percentage, and another league entered. In 1884, believe it or not, Doug, there were 3 leagues. There was a National League, a National Association, an American Association, and a third league as well. And they all had 8-10 teams. That was the only year there was more than 2. And 1984. Anyway, on this date in 1978, I got a good one for you. Irv Levin, who owned the Boston Celtics, traded and swapped franchises. He took the Buffalo Braves. Remember the Braves?
Right, sure. And Bob McAdoo.
Never played, right? Never played a day. He took them to San Diego. 6 years they played as the Clippers out and never made the playoffs. And then, of course, John Brown took over the Celtics, and they've been great ever since. And we know the story about San Diego. But quick thing, on this date in 1962, Roger Maris hit 2 home runs. Mickey Mantle hit 2 home runs. And it's the second time that these 2 players hit 2 home runs each in a game. First time it ever happened for any teammates. But, and the usual thing about this is Mickey Mantle's 2 home runs made it 4 consecutive homers, not 4 in one game. And here's the oddity about it, Doug. He hit 2 home runs the day before, 2 days before, and then they had an off day. So he hit 2 home runs against Kansas City, had an off day, and came back and hit home runs his first at-bats against the Senators for 4 consecutive. And that's pretty tough to do. In 86, Bob Horner hit 4 home runs in one game, and they lost 11-7. Figure that out. And I got 2 more quick things that I just can't pass up. Jim Thorpe in 1912 on this date wins 4 gold medals in the Stockholm Olympics, and he was stripped of his decathlon medals, not like, say, Caitlyn Jenner, who was stripped, but no, anyway, he was reinstated. Growing up, Jim Thorpe was considered, in my day, Doug, the best athlete ever.
Right.
And, and it was a sin the way, he died impoverished and broke. And on this date, Jack Dunn tried to trade Babe Ruth, who was with the Orioles, to Connie Mack for $10,000, and Connie Mack said he just didn't have the funds. He couldn't do it. Wow. And my favorite one of all is the Bill Jurgis on this date was shot twice by his jilted lover. Her last name was Bally, and she ended up, he doesn't press charges. He was still living at home in Brooklyn. He was 23 years old, and his brother said for a city kid, he's a bumpkin. He doesn't have much experience with women. And when he broke up with this woman, she couldn't handle it, and ended up becoming a big burlesque star. And that happened in 1932. By the way, in 1933, the first All-Star game ever, Kaminsky, Babe Ruth hits a home run, Lefty Gomez gets the win. So that's it for July 7th.
Wow, that's perfect, Chip. I enjoy that. Now, the one thing I did not know, though, about that you said, one of the original baseball or franchises in 1861.
1871 was the first year.
Okay.
And I actually, there's a website called Retro where you can go to and you can pick up a box score from any game that's been played in the major leagues. Okay. And so I went back there, and then I saw that how the leagues were changing. It's just starting, I guess, Major League Baseball at the time, and to have 3 different leagues in 1984, that was the only time. And because in 1900, the pitcher won his 300th game, Doug.
Right.
I'm thinking baseball started in 1900.
Okay, no, I knew that, yeah, because I think wasn't Cincinnati the first franchise? I thought the first official franchise, I should say.
I think they had. I'm not quite sure. I know they all started at the same time out there, but the National League is considered the senior circuit by a good margin now. It is, right. I used to hear that all the time and say, what does that mean? But I can see now that it means that they were playing baseball as a National League for 30 years.
Right, exactly. Now, you mentioned Rockford, the Forest City, which happens to be where I was born and raised. Okay,
right. So worst record in baseball, 4-21.
And that kind of goes along. Well, I won't even say that. I'll let that one go. Anyway, so hey, that's it for Rep for today. For Chip and I, it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, you learned some stuff along the way here. Again, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Leave your comments. Okay, good, bad, or indifferent. That's all fine. I will definitely respond to them myself today. And leave that. So tomorrow I will be back with Matt Fargo, and we will talk some more baseball and hand out some more free picks for you. So for Chip Chirimbes, this is Doug Upstone for Winner's Circle. Let's have a bunch of winners today and make it all happen for all of us.